Guys, I'm going to be changing the outer tie rod ends on a 2002 Saab 9.3 today. I've never done this before, but I thought I'd go ahead and document it for the sake of those who are kind of in the same boat as me. So let me get started and show you what tools I've got. So I've got a friend who was kind enough to lend me a 3-ton hydraulic jack and a couple of jack stands. I'm on pavers, so I've got a couple pieces of plywood that will go underneath the jack stands just to kind of help give it any additional stability if there's any gaps in the pavers where it's resting. I've also got my Haynes manual, which is, I don't find it to be that great, but it's better than nothing. I rented this tool from Advanced Auto Parts. It's great, it's basically free. You have to buy the kit and then you return it, but that's just how they go about doing their rentals. They give you a full refund when you return the kit, and there's not really a timeline. I've got my 2 new tie rod ends. This one's out of the box. Went ahead and bought adjusters too, just in case, because they were only a couple bucks. Got it from Euro Parts. The whole thing cost me about $50 with shipping. Not bad. And I've got a socket set and wrench, and this to take off the tires. So let's go ahead and get started. Tires off the ground just barely, but enough for the tire to spin, which is okay with me. And again, it's at those regular mounting, those jack points underneath the car. And now it's time to take the tire off and get in to the control arm end, or the and time to take. So it's time to take the tire off and got the tire off, wheel off. You can see there's the tie rod end. I sprayed here, here, and then back on the adjuster the other day with PB Blaster. Sorry, the light's not so good. Just ahead of time, just in case there was any corrosion. But here in Florida, we don't really get a lot of rusty parts, maybe unless you're driving on the beach a lot or something. But shouldn't be too bad to get off. So let me get started. Got a 19mm socket here. Most people use a regular wrench. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bolt up. Not going to take it all the way off, but just going to take it pretty much to the end. See, that moved really easily, actually. I'm going to loosen this up all the way to the end there. I'm going to pop that off, okay? Okay, you see the nut is loosened up almost, it's almost all the way off, but I went ahead and put it back on a little bit because we're going to have to pop this bolt out of here. And in order to keep this piece from really flying up, I'm just going to leave this nut on for safety. And now the tool I was going to use, unfortunately, is broken, but I've got this, I believe it's like a Pitman bolt remover, something like that. Anyway, we're going to slide this on. It fits over this bracket, and then it tightens up, and this bolt pushes into that bolt. And we'll use a wrench to go ahead and crank this bolt and pop that bolt out of there. Let me grab my wrench. Now, I've heard there can be quite a pop when you're doing this, so I'm a little bit nervous, but here we go. Hey, nice. No pop. Alright, so you see the bolt is now, you can see it coming up through there. Kind of tough to see. Here we go. Alright, so go ahead and take this off. And the tie rod end is loose. Let's remove this nut. And there it is. All sorts. I don't know how much plate it's supposed to have, but if the condition of that bushing or boot or whatever that is any indication, this thing is worn out. Now, as you see under here, we've got a 13mm bolt. We need to loosen that up so that we're able to unscrew the end from the adjuster. Now, I've also gone and I've just kind of, can't really see it, I tried to score the adjuster and the inner tie rod to kind of get an idea of where everything's lined up, and the Same here on the outer one. That way I can get it close to being right when I put it back in, assuming I'm leaving this in place, which I believe I will. So we're going to loosen up this bolt here, which allows us to then unscrew the tie rod end from the adjuster, and we'll take it from there. Okay, now that I've got this bolt out, the outer tie rod will just unscrew. So we want to go ahead and count the number of times we have to take it off of here. We have to unscrew it to get it off of here, so we know how many times to put the new one on, or how many times to turn the new one as we put it on. I'm gonna stop recording while I do this. Okay, it was about 13.5 rotations. It came off, started here in this orientation and came off when it was about in this orientation. So I'll do the same thing, putting the new one back on.
How do you know all this?
Okay, I've got the new tie rod in there and put on back to the same place it was before, so hopefully it's very close. I went ahead and tightened up this bolt until it was really snug. This one I found online that someone said it was 44 foot-pounds of torque for this, so I went ahead and did that. Of course, the Haynes manual didn't tell me anything, which is very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other side off and replaced. Okay, I got the passenger side end off. Gave me a little trouble at first because I didn't realize that the passenger side is reverse threaded. That's very important. And I had to run to grab a screwdriver. I think I lost count of how many turns it took. I believe it was the same as the other side. At least that's how my counting ended up. So I definitely don't want to drive this thing very far before I get in alignment. Yeah, I mean, it came out really easy with all the same techniques, but just note that this side is reverse threaded. Okay, got the new tie rod in here. New bolt. Goes back on just in the reverse order that everything came off to begin with. So it's pretty easy to do. Just try and get things lined up like they were last time. Know how many turns it took to take the old one off as you put the new one on. And even if you're close, or even if you think you've got it right on, you're still going to need an alignment. Just kind of part of the deal. So let me go ahead and put this one back on. And the tires are back on, and that's it. It's actually a very simple job. I don't really know what I'm doing. It took me about an hour and a half total, and everything is back in place. Now I just need to go get an alignment. Hope this helped you guys out. Thank you.